I've been painting the same image and world really for the last 3 years. And I don't really know if that means I found my style or if I'm just repeating myself, trying to fully understand something I can't quite grasp yet. It wasn't completely unintentional. I did understand that I was using the same color palette and continuously looking at these plants, but I didn't fully understand just how prolific it was throughout all my work until I started working and making the mock-up for this piece. I saw it and then saw all the other mock-ups and then compared it to my last painting and really saw just how similar each one was and how it's compounding, they grew from each other. At first, it just felt like another painting, something I was kind of figuring out as I went. But as I stepped back and compared it to some of the other paintings that I have in my studio here, I really noticed the connection between each one. Even the older pieces, like the one I have here behind me, that was done in 2024, I see a clear line from this one to my newest one. The colors felt familiar, composition familiar, and even the mood felt familiar. They're completely different paintings and different kind of thought process, and yet they're still similar. There's still familiarity between the two of them. Once I saw it, I couldn't unsee it. I kept going back to the same elements. Dandelions, tall grass, these oversized, larger than life figures that almost blend into the environment and the botanical elements in the painting. The dark, quiet, nighttime scenes. I've been trying to understand why. Because dandelions aren't really something you're supposed to notice. And that was the whole purpose of incorporating the dandelions is they're weeds. They're unseen, they're overlooked, they're pulled out and not appreciated for any kind of purpose that they serve, whether it be medicinal or even just ecological. And comparing that to this oversized, highly saturated figure that blends into an environment and doesn't quite sit inside the same space as something separate. It's very much the same material. Even though the figure's larger than anything else in the composition, it doesn't feel dominant. It feels absorbed and a continuation. And it's not even that I'm not trying to change things. I'm constantly trying to push my boundaries and experiment with different ideas, make things more abstract. I'll start a new sketch thinking, okay, this one I'm going to incorporate something different, maybe an internal kind of domestic feeling to it rather than landscape, or shifting the palette more so it doesn't incorporate green or it's dominantly not green. I would say even in this painting, I'm shifting things a little bit. I'm adding blue to it and adding different elements, but it still has that same consistency in it and the follow through throughout all my paintings. try changing the structure, adding more elements, making things more dense, less overgrown, adding another figure, but somehow it just always pulls back into this familiar space. I've been thinking lately if I should be fighting this or trying to break away from this kind of pattern that I've built, whether I should try or just kind of lean into it more. And I don't quite know where I fall yet. And that kind of led me to start wondering, is this really my style and what I want to be known for as an artist? Or am I just stuck and almost lazy in my ideas and just trying to repeat the same thing because it worked that one time? Because from the outside, it could look like repetition. But when I'm actually painting, it really doesn't feel the same. It feels new and exciting and intentional. It doesn't feel quite like repetition. It feels almost like I'm circling something, like I'm getting closer to something, but I can't quite fully see it yet. And each painting is adjusting something slightly. So I'm testing different techniques, different combinations, and just different compositions and seeing what works and what doesn't, and really refining the technique that goes into each of them. I do think part of this kind of like style and repetition that I've built has stemmed from influence and just being surrounded by art and just absorbing how they create these worlds and the feeling in their work. At first it does show up as a bit of imitation, but it later grows into something that feels personal and intimate almost. And the repetition stops feeling accidental and it starts feeling more like a language. And that's kind of what it feels like now. Not just repeating images, but building a vocabulary almost. The same figure, the same plants, and even like the same kind of nocturnal dark spaces. Each painting isn't separate, they just build on each other. The themes do shift from series to series, but visually, they stay in the same world. And the more I repeat this space, it holds something, and I can't fully explain it yet. I still don't completely know what this all represents yet, but I feel like I'm really circling something about isolation, attachment, and how we situate ourselves. And to be honest, for a while, once I did start noticing this kind of repetition, I felt like maybe I needed to take a step back, take a little break, and try to reevaluate my process. But now I'm starting to think the opposite. Now, it doesn't feel like a problem. Because maybe repetition isn't actually limiting in any way and holding me back. Maybe it's actually helping me get closer. Closer to whatever keeps showing up and trying to say something. And I think at this point, repetition has become almost a tool for me. It's a way to get closer to something I don't fully understand yet and still experience and feel that tension that is brought through.